Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today we're going to be looking at a crazy crack theory from the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's animated series. The question of, does Otes wear a drone helmet? So as of the ending of episode 32 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7, we learned that Mr. Goha, in fact, is a person wearing a drone helmet, with the drone seemingly taking over and controlling the actions of its user. Although not 100% confirmed, the show definitely insinuates this being the case. But why would Otes also have a drone helmet? And is it just one person or is it a collective group? Well, I do believe it is a collective group acting as the entity known as Otes. So it's not just one person, but instead it's multiple people, maybe only a group of 3 or 4, but then it changes and alters around, hence to why we get different decks and different archetypes. Let's go down all the points that I managed to pick out, and let's have a look and see if there's any links to a possibility of Otes also having a drone for a helmet. So as we know, my first point is going to be, when Yuga was younger, he received 7th Road Magician from Otes. Now despite this, we don't see any age difference in the slightest from Otis's character. Now this does look to be around about 4 to maybe 5 years ago, so a great drastic change wouldn't be that uncommon. But at the same time, there is no change whatsoever between the Otes that appears at that tournament, giving Yuga 7th Road Magician, to the Otes that we have now in present day. So there is a small, minute possibility that if there's a group of people working to create the entity known as Otes with a helmet that is essentially a drone feeding them information, then of course it could be a brand new person entirely than the one who actually gave Yuga 7th Road, but has the memories of doing so himself thanks to the shared information process of helmet and user. This will also explain the no aging part. The only way they'll have to get around this, however, is just finding someone who's a similar size, because at this moment in time, Otes doesn't seem to grow any taller. Still, that's not too hard to do. I'm sure there's loads of people who are the same height or very similar height in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe. Now another reason we'll be looking at his dueling prowess. We've seen him quite a few times throughout the series, but we've only seen him realistically duel twice. Now, of the 2 times that we've seen him duel, he's used different archetypes and different decks, of course being Blue Eyes and Red Eyes. So in episode 1, he uses Blue Eyes against Yuga, but then looking at his flashbacks with Rook, we see him also using a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So why does he change it when he's facing Rook, Roman and Gakuto in later episodes? Well, for this, I do personally think, again, going back to the group idea of people collectively becoming Otes by wearing a drone-like helmet, sharing information between each other, the person who faced Rook, Roman and Gakuto in the later episodes is someone who specializes in using Red Eyes Black Dragon, but still takes on the persona of Otes. Whereas in episode 1, it's a different person entirely who focuses more on Blue Eyes. Of course, if we see Blue Eyes return being used by Otes, then again it means they're just swapping between different people. So for my next point, I'm going to talk about calculations. So in order for Yuga and others to appear in front of Otes would need to do some very precision and precise calculations in order to be at the same time, location and point where Team Yuga and friends and other characters that interact with Otes currently are, in order to be in that time and place to have that conversation and that interaction. This is a two-way system, however, because I know that Yuga needs to find out information and other characters need to find information about Otes to know and have hints as to where he's going to appear, like with the Roa and Yuga duel. Yuga knew exactly where Otes would appear to and what time. That's why he wasn't faced by anything going on. But at the same time, if we look at it and we look at it from a point of view, Otes would need to have put this information out there, and he would need to know exactly when the person he wants to talk to is going to arrive and when they do arrive, in order to kind of trigger the event for him to appear, thus giving us that interaction that we sought after. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a situation in where Otes appears in a location and he's going to look like a fool because no one is there to see him or greet him or talk to him. He's going to be constantly popping up every 5 minutes going, has he not found the location yet? He's not found a location yet. So in order to do this, pre-planning is needed. This is essential. And although precise calculations to the finest minute point isn't impossible for a human brain, it's very difficult to pull off for a human, and it's much, much easier for an AI or for a drone to do. So if Otes is wearing a helmet that is essentially a drone, like Mr. Gohar's one that we see at the end of 32, this makes the calculations much more simpler, much more precise, and a lot more organized. So yeah, that's one point. Moving on to my final point of this video, let's do it. So at this moment in time within Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's, Otes does not seem like a villain or an antagonist. Instead, he's leaning more towards the side of opposing Gohar Corporation, creating a parallel of light and darkness between Gohar and himself. Obviously, President Gohar is going to be the darkness in this situation, and Otes being the light, symbolized by the outfits as well, obviously retracting and opposite color schemes. This is a hint at both characters obviously being at odds with each other, yet being similar in having parallels and links and connections. So, to that I say, if Mr. Gohar is essentially a helmet drone controlling a host, what's to say that Otes isn't the same, but in a more friendlier and more controlled environment, to where the helmet or drone, AI, whatever you want to call it, that the user has to put on to become Otes isn't overwriting the brain, isn't controlling its host or user, but instead working in a systematic way where both can freely express what they want to say and what they want to do, and share the information accordingly that is needed in order to meet a certain criteria and goal that is mutual for both parties. Although saying this, I don't really know. It's a crack theory. It's just something to have a bit of fun and think about, as we don't really have a lot of information to go on, but it's still fun to speculate and see what other people think in terms of your point of view. And that's right, I do want to see and hear your points of view, because I'm interested to hear what you have to say in the comment section down below regarding anything and any point that I brought up in this video. Let's have a fun discussion about it. Again, it could just be a group of people that just value different legend cards, hence to why we have seen 2 different legend cards already. But at the same time, this is a theory. I know there's been a theory about him being a hologram coming up, and that's been present from the start of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's as a general collective over these 32 episodes. But I still think this idea, it makes sense. There's a small possibility it can come true, and it opens doors for more and interesting things to come in the future. So I'm excited to see which route they're going to go down with when it comes to Otes, because he is still a man of mystery and we got to learn more about him. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button, and of course let me know your thoughts on this video, and then subscribe if you want to for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, and I'll see you next time. Alligator, have a great day, goodbye.